dialog fragment. So onto the dialog fragment, we are adding up the time picker or the date picker, right? So whenever you choose the time and whenever you click minutes, it will ask you to edit the minutes, and when you click OK, so it should pop out and whatever you have selected, it should display here, right? So that is what we want to do. So whenever you are clicking this button, so a data fragment is popping up. So this is called a dialog fragment. So in the dialog fragment, we are trying to add the time picker, and whenever you choose the time, it should be returning back to this main activity. So this is what we are trying to do. So whenever we work on that, so if I want to do that kind of thing, so I would be needing a text box. So I'm trying to add a text, either a text view or a plain text, try to add it. Okay, and we'll just remove this one. Okay, so I'll just put it little to the center. So this one I'm just removing the name because we need it for time. So ID, time. So and whenever a button is pressed, we have to add the, we have to pop up the dialog. So I'm trying to add a button as well. So I'm dragging and dropping the button. Okay, so when this button is clicked, so set the time. When this button is pressed, the pop-up needs to be popped up, and you have to display that. Okay, so I have designed only this thing. So in the main activity, so we'll just need those text, edit text. So edit text, the button B1. Okay, so alt and enter into the class E1. So E1 is equal to find view by ID, the time 1, and so button find view by ID. Okay, so when the button is pressed, we need the pop-up set on click listener new. Okay, so whenever this is there, I need to pop up that window where the dialog will be displayed. So that is what I want to do that. So let's say to create that pop-up window or do that thing, so I want to create a class. Okay, so let's say we call that class as time, my time picker will call my time picker class. Let's say time picker. Okay, so I just want to create this class. So once you put it on this, it will ask you to create a class called this thing. So just click on that and it will automatically create you a class. Okay, so this class, what it should do, it should be responsible for creating that dialog fragment. In that dialog fragment, the time picker needs to be updated, right? So here, as we have to make this class responsible for the dialog fragment, you have to extend it as dialog fragment. Okay, so you have to make sure you are using this as a dialog fragment, and also try to make it as a public class. Okay, so in this dialog fragment, you have a method called on create dialog. Okay, so you need to that method create. Okay. So there you need to check for on create dialog. So just check that. Okay, so this probably you don't need these nullable things, you can just remove them. Okay, because we have the same. Okay, so this on create dialog, what does that do is it will return a dialog. Okay, so we wanted that dialog, right? So whenever you click that thing, the dialog needs to be opened up, and it has to display the date. So in order to return this dialog, so the return type is dialog, you have to return a dialog. So now the dialog should be, returning type should be a time picker dialog, right? So because we have to add a time picker, right? So that's why I'm trying to create an object for the time picker dialog is equal to new time picker dialog. So this takes like 4 parameters. So where should I display this? So you should display the get activity. So because this class is called from here, so it automatically gets that main activity as the get activity. Okay, and the second parameter is we have to see whenever there is a change in the time, it has to listen it, and that change also has to be intimate to the main activity, right? So the second one is on time listener. Okay, so we have to add this time listener. So we have to add this to the get activity. Okay, so get, so I want to add to get activity. Okay, okay, and also it needs to three more parameters. The three more parameters are the hour, I mean the number of hours and minutes. So you need to pass that hours here, you need to pass that minutes here, and if you want a 24-hour thing, you need to use true. Want a 12-hour thing, you make it false. Okay, so when you want 24 hours time, you can use true. If you want 12 hours time, you can make this as false. Okay, so now you have to pass these hours and minutes. So how can we get these hours and minutes? Right now we don't have anything, so that's the reason you can define a calendar. C is equal to, we'll try to get the instance of the calendar dot get instance. So from this calendar I want to fetch the hours is equal to C dot calendar dot get calendar dot hour. Okay, so it will fetch you the hour, and similarly if you need minutes, so C dot get calendar. So it will also try to fetch that thing. So these two things, this hours and minutes, we have to pass it on here, because when the dialog is starting, it needs that hours and minutes to be displayed there. So that's why I am using it. So our dialog is ready, right? The time picker dialog. So now instead of this on create dialog, what we have to return? We have to return the time picker dialog that we have customized. Okay. So now this time picker dialog, whenever we create the object, okay, so whenever we are creating the object, it just invokes this class. So by default, as it is like having on create dialog, it gets invoked and it will execute and it will try to return back the time picker dialog. Okay. So when it is returning back the time picker dialog, so it is obtained in this thing. So now you have to show that dialog, right? So my time picker dot, you have a method called show. So you need a manager to show that. So you can use get support fragment manager, and you say that it is a time picker. Okay. So now this is ready. So whatever the dialog that we have created, the dialog fragment, in the dialog fragment, while creating the fragment, we are trying to create the time picker dialog and we are returning it as a dialog. So now whenever you click the button, so the time picker is returned back to this object and you are showing it. Okay, so now like this we are showing. So when I click this, I am getting these things. So now when I select these things, and when I select the day, I mean time or minutes, and when I click OK, these values, the time which has been changed, need to be like saved into the it has to be saved into the edit text box, or it has to be written back to the main activity. So whatever the change, the time change has happened, that time change needs to be replied back, right? So that's why whenever we show it, so you need to add again, like you need to check for if there is a time change or not. So here the entire main class you can check for whether there is a change or not. So here I am using on time set listener. Okay. Okay. So it needs a method called on time set. So it just gets down. So once the you know whatever the hours that it has been changed, or whatever the minutes that you got, so those need to be added to the T1 text field, right? So E1. So E1 dot text. So string dot value of hours. What was that? So hour of degree plus give colon and plus dot value of. Okay, so we just need these two things. Okay, so so whenever there is a change, like whenever you click this thing, whenever you click the button, so it is returning back the time picker dialog. So when I set the time, okay, so and click OK, so that time and is being returned back, and on time set. So as the listener is listening for the time change, so the time is received in hours and minutes. So whatever the time and minutes that we received, I am setting it in the even text. Okay, so that is how it is going to execute. Okay, so as it is for the first time running the app, so it will take little time to load all the things. Now understood, like how to do with the date picker and the dialog picker whenever you click something? Understood? Yeah, so whenever I click, so it is giving me the time and minutes. So whenever I click OK, it is just setting back. So here also you have a keypad. So here you can just enter the details, and you can also set it here also. Okay, so whichever way you want, so you can do it. So like that you can set the time. Okay, so let's say for event organizing or something, so you may have to choose a date, you may have to choose a calendar, I mean time. So when you need to choose all those things, you can just create this thing. Okay. So this is how you can work it out. Okay. So the date picker and time picker, both the things are similar. Only thing is, instead of time picker you will be adding a date picker and you will be doing the process. Okay, so with this the basic views we have done with. So probably from the next class I'll be taking you through the adaptive views, wherein we can add like designs like scrollings, where you can create the views like in shopping cart. So like how the designs will be displayed in different things. So you can add such kind of scrollable things. Okay, so something like this. See, you have a scrollable notifications, right? So like this you can also, how can you add different items like different things. So all these things, how you can add a gallery, like how you can switch between these different things. So this is part of gallery. And one item after the item, this is called a list view. Okay, so we'll be looking on the list view. And also like if you check through like let's say Gmail. So here in this Gmail you have like the scrollings like 1 2 3 like this, right? So you have one image here and then you have some content, some time. So all these things how we can create. So we call them as recycler views. So recycler views and list views and spinners that are there. So spinners are also there. So we'll be working on them. And individually like in the shopping cart, how to display like what to say, if you are searching for a particular item. So if you want to just display like this, so this is called a grid kind of. So in the grid how you can display the items like this, how you can add, when you click this it will take you through something else. So all these things will be part of your adaptive views. So we'll be working on them. And how you can add things, so that we will look in more, like maybe after your labs. So we'll be starting up. Okay, so after that we will be looking also into the notifications. So, okay, so if you check through this, so if you drag drop, so these are all the notifications that we have, right? So how to create these kind of notifications we will look through. Okay, so this will be one more thing which we will be working on. And also like we will check through few of the let's say menu items. So we'll be like also taking you through like how to add these menu items. So this will check. And on top you are asking like Agio, all these things. So you can also check through how you can modify these things. On top if you want files like menus, uh, here the menus are at the bottom, right? So the similar options you can also add on the top of the screen, like beside the AGO. If you want to add something like wish list, account, bag, all these things, if you want to put it on top, so you can also include that also. Okay, so we'll also create like the menus, the pop-up menus, the contextual menus, and something like the coordinator layout. So where it comes down, and when we work with it, so it just pushes like useful whenever you are I mean initially you want to have something probably like I think you can get those kind of things in Ghana, something like that apps. Okay, so in those apps initially you will have a bigger menu coming up. So once you pull it up, it just goes off. Okay, so that kind of I mean, in Ghana specifically, you can see. I don't think I have that app actually. Okay, so how to squeeze that heading part. Okay, so in the beginning there will be a very big image, and once you try to click on it, and it automatically pushes that entire screen up, and then it will display you things. Okay, so such kind of things we call as coordinator layout, so we'll be working on that. And also I'll explain you the basics of the table layout, the grid layout, the relative layout. We have worked with the coordinator layout, right? So all these things I'll be covering like in 1 or 2 classes for the layouts. And adapter classes we may take like 3 to 4 hours, and notifications again it will take 2 classes. Okay, so once these things are done, we'll go ahead with a little of, the coordinator layout is, the material design part. So we will see that, and after that we'll go ahead with the shared preferences, the data storage into the files, reading it from the files, and then how to store it in the SQLite. The menus, the layout. So till now whatever the views that we have seen, so there will be a lot of syllabus for the cat 2. So try to complete your tasks as soon as possible. Okay, don't keep pending. And if you have any doubts itself in the beginning itself, try to ask me. Okay, so till now whatever the topics that I have taught, anybody has any doubt or something? Anyone has some doubts related to some particular topic or anything, so that we can refresh?